In this video, we will show you how to replace your window regulator with motor assembly on this Ford F-150. This will be located inside of your front door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. We're going to start along the center of the door panel. Let's remove our switch panel from this area. For this, I'm using a plastic trim tool. We're just going to make our way right along this groove, gently pressing and prying. There we are. Now along the bottom of that panel, we can see that we have several electrical connectors. Let's start disconnecting those. For each of these, you're going to find that they have a locking tab. You just want to find it, press it in, disconnect it. A quick inspection for corrosion as we continue on down the line. Let's set this aside. We have that out of position. The next thing we need to do is focus along this inboard corner. Looking just inside of this area, you're going to find a mounting bolt. On ours, it looks as though it's been replaced. I'm using a 10mm. Now I'm just going to use a magnet. I don't want to drop this inside of the door. A quick inspection of all of our hardware as we continue on. Let's make our way directly above that and in behind our inside door handle. I'm using my pocket screwdriver right along the top of this plastic panel. You're going to find that you have a small port that you should be able to make your way in. We'll remove that panel, set it aside. Now that exposes our two 8mm headed mounting bolts. We'll remove the pair. Now we're going to remove the inside door handle. Along the forward side, there should be a small locking tab. For that, typically you just make your way under and pry it out and away. Now we're going to take this at an angle and start pulling it forward. This is going to expose our cable. Let's start removing the cable from the back side of the inside door handle. For this, we're going to take hold of this area of the cable as close to the handle as possible and pull it towards this opening in the slotted area. Sometimes you can do this by hand, other times you may have to use pliers. Now we can see where the cable is going to have to go next. Let's just go ahead and pivot that, and we'll bring it out through its slot right down at the very end here. Just a quick inspection of that cable, and an inspection of the inside handle, and we'll set that aside. Let's start removing our speaker grill cover. For this, I'm going to be using a pocket screwdriver and my plastic trim tool. Let's start up along the top area here. Now, if you were to make your way up approximately an inch up this grill cover, we're going to gently press in with our pocket screwdriver and gently start prying out. There's a locking tab here. Now, while I'm holding pressure there, I'm just going to use my trim tool so I can continue on. Okay, this is starting to separate now. Let's carefully start pulling it out and away. There's going to be several other locking tabs. They all should dislodge fairly easily. That exposes our door speaker. You're going to find that you have four 5.5mm mounting screws holding this in place. Now there should be one right here. This one doesn't look like it was holding on to anything. Go ahead and pull that out of place. You're going to find that you have an electrical connector. You know what to do. Find the locking tab, press it in, disconnect it. We'll set that aside. Now down along the bottom of the speaker port, we're going to look for two small adapters. There's one right here, and there should be a second one there. We want to remove the pair. There is, of course, two others up along the top, but we don't need to worry about those. Down here, one of ours is missing. That's okay. We're going to continue on with a 1/4-inch socket. If you were to look along the back side of here, you can see where the plastic adapter protrudes through the door, so I'm just pressing that socket up against the back side of the adapter, That's going to squeeze on the locking ears, and we should be able to pull this out of place. So you can see that. I just pressed it right up against there and pulled it out. Repeat the process for the other lower mounting point as well, assuming you have one. Now we're moving down along the bottom of the door panel. If you were to feel along this area, you're going to find that you have two notches, just like this right here. Inside of each of those notches, you're going to find a 6mm headed mounting bolt. We'll remove each of those. Let's get our next one on the far side there. Now let's take hold of the door panel. We're going to start gently lifting it up high enough that it makes its way over to our door lock knob. Now we can remove the door panel from the door itself. Set that aside. Let's start removing the vapor barrier from this area. This is just a thin sheet of plastic. We're going to start on one corner and make our way all the way over towards the other side. If you are starting over on the side with the door lock knob, you want to be extremely careful not to cause any damage. We're going to start at the lower portion here. We should be able to flex this to bring it up and over this area as well. As you pull this away, you're paying attention to all that black butyl tape. You want to make sure you don't get any of it on your clothing. This can cause damage to clothing. Let's pull our cable out of place, slide this up and over our door lock knob, and we'll set this aside. Now that we have that off, before we do anything inside of the door area here, we're going to make sure we support our window glass in some way. There are window hold-up tools, otherwise you can use some masking tape. Whatever you do, just make sure you're as safe as possible. I like to use several strips of tape if I am using this. Tape is pretty cheap in comparison to glass. Once you feel as though the window is secure, we can make our way back down along this area. Now with the window held in the upright position, we're going to make our way inside of each of these two ports. You can see one oval here and one right there. Inside of either one of those ports, you're going to find a 10mm mounting bolt. I have my new window regulator here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is the bolt that we're going to want to loosen. We do not need to fully remove it. What you'll find is when you loosen it, these two ears will separate from each other. This is where the window sits, directly in between. We're going to loosen each one of those two mounting bolts so we can loosen up the clamps. Got my 10mm here. Let's get that next one. Continuing on from there, we're going to reattach our window switch. We have our gray electrical connector, the blue electrical connector. Now we'll put the key in the on position and we're going to power the window regulator down, making sure that the window stays up. Okay, here we go. Let's make sure there's nothing inside of the door that should not be there. Let's power this down. There we are. We only need to bring it down far enough that it is separated from the window glass. Now we can turn off key power and disconnect our window switch. Now we have 5 pieces of 10mm headed mounting hardware. We're going to start in the center. This mounting bolt holds our window motor in place. That does have movement now. We'll continue on to each side of our window regulator. We'll start at the top here. For this upper mounting bolt, I like to loosen it but leave it in place. Let's make our way all the way down to the bottom there. Now let's repeat the process for the next side of the window regulator. Just loosen that top piece of hardware down to the bottom. Now we have to be extremely careful. We're reaching inside of the door. We're going to take hold of our window regulator. We'll have to lift it up and then slide it inward a little bit so we can remove the bolt from the door itself. And then we'll rest it down here, continue on to the other side of the window regulator, repeating that same process. Now that we have that pulled out, we can continue on to our electrical connector here. Just go ahead and take hold of that locking tab and disconnect it. There it is, friend. Now it's time for installation of our brand new window regulator. First couple things you want to do before you install it in the door. First of all, transfer over the mounting bolts from the top of the original regulator to the brand new regulator, but leave them loose. Aside from that, we also have those two clamps on either side of the regulator. We want to make sure that those mounting bolts are loosened so the clamp is open. The glass needs to sit inside of that rubber boot. Once you've completed all that, let's go ahead and get this regulator in the door. Now that we have that rested in there, let's make our way over to the other side. Just going to try to get that aligned as well. It's time to start in each of our two lower mounting bolts. Let's get that regulator aligned in the corresponding area. Get that bolt started in, onto the next one. We've got all four of those in place. Let's continue on to the center mounting bolts next. Once they're all started in, go ahead and snug them up. Now we'll plug in the window motor. Listen for a click from that. Next, we're going to reconnect our window switch and turn the key power on. We have to power the brand new window regulator motor assembly up so that each one of those clamps goes around our window glass, and then we'll be tightening our two 10mm bolts so the clamps are holding tightly against the glass. Okay, so we've got key power on. Once again, we're making sure nothing's inside the door that shouldn't be there. Let's go ahead and start powering this up. We want to be careful that those clamps do go around the glass as they should. Take your time here. Okay, we'll just make sure there's full pressure on the glass, lifting it up as high as possible. Now I'm going to turn off key power before reaching my hands inside this area. We're confirming the clamps are around the glass as necessary. As you can see, I have the window glass in the proper positioning here. This is what you're looking for. Once you're sure both of those are properly in place, we'll continue on tightening our mounting hardware. Right there's bottomed out. Just take it a tiny bit further here. We don't want to cause any damage, but we do need to make sure we're gripping the glass properly. The window is properly secured. We can remove our tape. Now, before we put anything else back together, let's make sure we test the functionality of the window regulator with motor assembly with that window glass attached. We're going to bring this all the way down and back up. There's no binding, everything functioned properly. Go ahead and turn off key power and remove your window switch. One last quick inspection in this area and we can reinstall our vapor barrier. We're going to start on the area that has the door lock knob. Let's just go ahead and make sure we slide it through our port. Now we also have this cable that goes in and behind here, so we're just going to take that, we'll slide it through this slot. Now for the rest of this, just try to align it to its original positioning. Should be able to see where all that butyl tape sits. Stick that to the door as well as possible. Now it's time to get ready to install our door panel. Looking along the back side of the door panel, you're going to find that you have several hooks making their way all the way around the door panel. And if you are looking at the door itself, you're going to find the slots for those hooks to fit into. One more thing, when we bring the door panel over, we're going to have to come up nice and high so we can bring the door panel port over our door lock knob. We'll make sure we have the door in the unlocked position. Start bringing this over. We're looking for our door lock knob to slide through here. You may need to align things as necessary. Now it's starting to come through, so I'm just going to lift up on the door panel itself just enough that I can align my hooks with their corresponding ports. We'll press the door panel up against the door and bring it all the way down as far as possible. Now that we have the door lock knob in the proper positioning, let's make sure that we also have access to our wiring harnesses. This can cause an issue where you can't push the door panel up against the door. You can definitely see our speaker wiring harness as well. Let's get this in position. Once you have it pressed down, we'll just check all the way around to make sure we're properly seated. Now it's time for our door speaker. Along the bottom area here of the port, we should have our two plastic adapters. As you remember, one of ours is broken, and it's actually still stuck to the speaker, so I'm just going to leave it there. Once we have the adapters in place, we're going to continue on with our electrical connector. Just go ahead and line that up, press it in, listen for a click. After that audible click, a light tug. Let's get this in position. Start with the wiring harness side first, and we'll roll it into position. Start in all 4 of your mounting bolts and snug them up. And obviously there's one in this corner as well. Now we have our door speaker grill. Start getting this in position. We're aligning all of our tabs. Flex it as necessary. Press it in. There we are. Now we're going to make our way up into this area. Before we start reinstalling our panel with our switches, we're going to make sure we install our anchor bolt first. That's going to go inside this rearward corner. Now it's time for our switch panel. Let's start reconnecting our electrical connectors. We're going to start with the gray first. Just want to align this, press it in, listen for a click. That's for the mirror switch. Now we have our door lock switch, green connector. Moving along, it's time for our window switch. Go blue next. And then our dark gray. Now looking at this, you can see we have 3 locating tabs. The door panel has 3 ports. Line it up, press it in. Inside door handle next. we're going to be taking the cable end, we'll slide it through that circular port, bring it down through this groove, and we're going to lock it down in this area here. It's a little tight. Okay, we've got that through. Pivot it over, line it up, lock it in. If you need to, you can try to use some pliers on this. You just want to be careful not to cause any damage along the way. Just press it in. Okay. I have an audible click from that. I'm giving it a tug, trying to slide it out from this groove. It should not slide out. If it does, the cable itself could be broken or the inside door handle. Either way, it must be secured, otherwise your door handle may not function properly. Let's start bringing this into position. We're going to press this side in first, and then we'll lock it down with the forward side. An audible click there. 2 8mm headed mounting bolts inside this port. Just want to make sure they're both started in. Reinstall your protective panel. As for the protective panel, we're going to start at the bottom first. You can see it has these 2 locating tabs. Those are going to slide into their slots down on the bottom. Just line it up, press it in on the top. Double check to make sure that's seated in there. We'll continue on along the bottom of the door panel next. Along the bottom of the door panel, we have our 2 1/4-inch headed mounting bolts. Just start them both in. Once they're both started, you can snug them up. Okay, friend, we finished our installation and we've already tested the functionality of our window regulator motor assembly. The last thing you want to do is ensure that the inside door handle functions as it should, because we did have to have the cable out of place. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.